Hi, my name is Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a little second-hand book haul. So these are all the books I've acquired over the last few months. It's been a while, I think, since I did a book haul. What I like about second-hand book hauls is I get to tell you the origins of all of these books and the various ways that they have each entered my life. So the first one was actually a gift, and it was a gift from Amelia at Amelia Barlow Books. I will link Amelia's channel down below. And Amelia had bought this book for herself and she didn't like it. She DNF'd it, but she very kindly sent it to me because she knows that I love this book. And it is Mrs. S by Kay Patrick. This is one of my favourite books of the year. I am so excited to own a copy. Thank you, Amelia. This is set in a girls' boarding school, and we follow the matron who has recently come over from Australia, and she develops a fascination with Mrs. S, who is the headmaster's wife. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. I have done an individual book review video of this one, which I will link down below if you want to hear my full thoughts. I might actually reread this in 2024. I don't normally reread so close to having read a book for the first time, but I feel like for this one I might make an exception. The next two books I picked up at work from a book swap. So I took 3 books in to get rid of, which all got snapped up, which was very pleasing. And I picked up these 2. So the first one, I saw someone walking over with a little pile of books, and I clocked this book immediately because it's a book I've sort of been peripherally aware of without really knowing too much about it, but I knew it was something I was interested in reading. So I snapped it up. And it's Tentacle by Rita Indiana. So Rita Indiana is a Dominican author. I believe they're a singer-songwriter as well, apparently. I've not looked up their work. But anyway, so this is translated from Spanish by, let's have a look, Aki Obeikas. So this sounds very intriguing. So it's a sci-fi book. I'll read a little bit of the blurb. Plucked from her life on the streets of post-apocalyptic Santo Domingo, young maid Asilde Figueroa finds herself at the heart of a Santeria prophecy. Only she can travel back in time and save the ocean and humanity from disaster. But first she must become the man she always was with the help of a sacred anemone. So it says it's about climate change, technology, queer politics, poverty, sex, colonialism and contemporary art. And it sounds really, really very intriguing. So I was so pleased to get that. Then this next one, I think it was some of the, I think this was library stock that they were getting rid of. I work at a university and it's the library staff who organise like the book club and the book swap and stuff. Because I had seen this on the library shelf but I hadn't picked it up yet. So anyway, this is a book that I know I would like to read at some point, but not sure when I would actually get to it. So I hung back on picking it up because I thought if someone else wants to take it and read it, then I'll let them have it, you know what I mean? But no one was picking it up, so I was like, well, I'm going to have it. And this is Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies by Maddie Mortimer. This is a very nice hardback edition in excellent condition. This was on the Booker long list a couple of years ago and it didn't make the shortlist, and I know several booktubers who I follow absolutely love this book and were outraged that it didn't make the shortlist. So I'm sure it's very, very good. I think it's pretty devastating. It's about a woman who has cancer, and I think it's told in a slightly experimental way in that the story gives voice to different parts of her body, I think. It says it's heartbreaking yet darkly funny. So yeah, this is something I would like to read at some point. Again, not sure when I'll get to it because I need to sort of be in the right frame of mind for it, but pleased with that one. The next one I also got from work, not from the book swap. We've got these little bookshelves dotted around where people can leave books. I've left several books on them. And it's always very satisfying when you then go past the bookshelf to see that your books have all been snapped up. Anyway, this one I saw there and I picked it up purely because of the author. It's called Everything You Know and it's by Zoe Heller. So Zoe Heller is the author of Notes on a Scandal, which was Booker listed many, many years ago, and I absolutely love that book. I am due a reread of it actually. This actual edition of this book was a free gift from She magazine, not for resale. When was this? Let's see. So this edition was published in 2003. And it has a little note on the back cover. It says, "Look out for Zoe Heller's new novel, Notes on a Scandal, coming in June 2003. So yes, this was free with a magazine, obviously like 20 years ago. And I think from looking at the blurb, I think it's like about a family with different relationships. It's the little, I'll read you one line. It says, "Set in London, Hollywood and Mexico, Zoe Heller's novel offers a supremely witty take on love, death and the age-old battle of the sexes, not forgetting women's underwear." I mean, I don't know what that's about. So this kind of looks terrible, but it's because it's Zoe Heller is why I picked it up. Where should we go next? Let's go for this one. Got piles of books around me. So the next one I picked up at a National Trust property. So I think all the National Trust properties have little second-hand bookshops there. And this one, I took 4 books of my own to donate. They were all in good condition. And I picked up this one, which was like a blind date with a book thing. So it was wrapped up. It had some words on the cover, obviously describing what it was, but without giving away the title or the author. And they actually gave it to me for free because I donated 4 books, even though I was very, very happy to pay for it. But it was very nice of them to give this to me for free. And I remember some of the words on the wrapping. It was described as a cult classic. And I was just very intrigued to see what it was. And it was The Beach by Alex Garland. So I have read this book before, but a long, long time ago. When was this first published? Because I feel like... So it was first published in 96. I probably read it like, I don't know, early 2000s. I feel like I read it about the time the film came out, whenever that was. The film with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I know that I did really enjoy it. This is a book that actually, for the last year or two, I've been thinking I'd quite like to reread. So it's handy that this copy has come into my life because I will add this to my reread list for 2024. You're probably aware of what this is about. It's set in Thailand and it's about a young man who goes travelling there, meets his other people, weird stuff happens. That's all I can remember. But I am looking forward to revisiting this one. The next one I picked up in the supermarket. So at the supermarket, by the checkouts, they have a little bookshelf where people can leave second-hand books they don't want anymore, and there's a little charity bucket so you can pick up whatever you want, donate £1 or whatever. And normally it's full of like really ratty old stuff that no one wants. But I saw this there and I was like, why is that there? This is a lovely, lovely edition. So I had to have it. My usual rule when I get books, whether new or second-hand, is that if I can get them in the library, I will do that instead rather than buying them. This one I'm pretty sure I can get in the library. I haven't checked, but I was like, I just need to have this edition and it will encourage me to pick it up sooner. So this is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This is a lovely Virago Modern Classic edition. It has French flaps, so it is fancy, lovely sort of work on the cover with like foiling. It has an introduction by Zadie Smith. So this is a book that sort of, again, I'm aware of. It's one that has been on my radar as I should get to this at some point. So this should encourage me to actually pick it up. Zadie Smith says it's one of the very greatest American novels of the 20th century. So what's it actually about? When at 16, Janie is caught kissing shiftless Johnny Taylor, her grandmother swiftly marries her off to an old man with 60 acres. Janie endures 2 stifling marriages before she finally meets the man of her dreams, who offers not diamonds but a packet of flowering seeds. I don't really know too much about the story at all, actually. But yeah, I believe it's meant to be very, very good. And then the final 4 books I picked up in charity shops. First one I was very, very excited to see because I've been wanting to read this since I read a book by this author a few years ago, but my library didn't have any other books by the author other than the one I read. This is Seeing by Jose Saramago. This is translated from Portuguese by Margaret Jewel Costa. So I read Blindness in early 2020. and I really enjoyed it. It was interesting reading that book, which is about pandemic at the start of 2020. Interesting timing. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think I quite like the way that Sarah Margot writes, weirdly, because and seeing does the same thing as blindness does. He doesn't really use paragraphs very much. And I know I have said not long ago that I really didn't like that in Prophet Song by Paul Lynch, which obviously recently won the Booker. And the lack of paragraphs in that book really hindered my reading experience. But when I read Blindness, somehow it didn't hinder my experience in the same way. So I don't know what that's about. But anyway, Seeing does the same thing. So what's this about? I think this is like a political novel. And it's set around an election where that leads to like a state of emergency. I don't know too much about the detail of it. But yeah, looking forward to reading more Sarah Margot. Then, this one. This is The Diary of a Provincial Lady by E.M. Delafield. This is a modern classic. This was first published in, when was this first published? 1930. So I think it's in diary format. I quite like books that are told in diary format. And I think this is meant to be quite a funny book about a woman who is, I'll quote, juggling a grumpy husband, mischievous children, and a host of domestic dilemmas, from rice mould to a petulant cook. So yeah, it sounds, I think it's meant to be quite funny. I quite like this cover with this woman sort of reclining on a couch like it's all too much. And I said to my girlfriend when I got this, I said, she looks like me, that's the kind of thing I do. And she said, yeah, but you're more dramatic. And she's not wrong. Just two more to go. Survivor by Chuck Palahniuk. I never know if I'm pronouncing that surname right. I have read Fight Club by this author and loved it. Thought that was so good. And then I've not read anything else yet. So I saw Survivor there. I checked my library. My library doesn't have this, so I thought, well, I'll pick this up. I've not heard of this one before. I don't know if that means it's not as good as some of his other stuff. But this is about a man who is the last surviving member of the Creedish death cult. And he has He has commandeered a Boeing 747 emptied of passengers in order to tell his story to the plane's black box before it crashes. Yeah, so it sounds a bit weird. Looking forward to that. And finally, we're going to end with some non-fiction, unusually for me. This is Spell It Out, The Singular Story of English Spelling by David Crystal. So I have read a couple of books by David Crystal a long time ago, because I do find language really fascinating. This is in excellent condition. Apart from it has like a happy Christmas message in it to Paul in 2016. So this is about, well, English spelling, and sort of the anomalies within that. I think it's about the how words have come to be formed. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this because, as I say, I do find language really interesting. It's got pictures as well. Let's see. I mean, I don't know why, but it has a picture of actor Gordon Scott as Tarzan in 1958. There we go. So that's my book haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you think of them. And let me know if you've picked up any books recently. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Bye.